What is up, my fish tank guys and girls? Today we are going to be moving forward with the Fluval EVO 13.5 gallon aquarium. We're going to be putting sand in the tank, we're going to be filling it with water, and we're going to be starting our cycling process. Now in this video, I'm going to take you guys through the next few steps of setting up the aquarium, mainly putting the sand in the tank and adding your salt water, along with starting your cycling process. Now for this video, I'm going to go back and forth between me talking right here and me doing things in the tank. So that's what you'll see. I'm actually going to be doing this stuff after I talk about it here, but I'll cut back and forth so it goes along with what I'm explaining to you guys. Now, for all of my other aquariums, I actually used egg crate on the bottom of the tank before putting down sand. And in this case, I'm gonna go without it. A lot of people go without it. It's definitely an optional thing. It's a nice to have, in my opinion, in terms of keeping your rock work kind of steady and stable in place. For the rocks that I'm using in this setup, they all kind of sit nicely and flat on the ground, so I'm not too worried about a lot of movement or shifting. So I'm going to bypass the egg crate this time around and see how it works out. I have a feeling it's going to work just fine. Now, in terms of this aquarium, what I decided to go with here is this guy. This is the Carib Sea Arag Alive Natural Reef Sand. Now, the reason that I went with this sand is it's supposed to have larger particles that cut down on the sand getting blown around and moved around in your aquarium, which is what I'm hoping to do with this tank. One of the issues that I've had with the BioCube and some of the other aquariums that I've set up is that when I put the power heads in and I get a nice amount of flow in the tank, I also end up getting some sand blowing up and shifting and moving around, which I'm hoping to avoid. So the next step, the first step in the process here is to remove my nice aquascaped work from inside the aquarium, remove my cardboard, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill the bottom of the tank with the sand. Now, I actually have 16 pounds of sand. Typically, it is recommended that you do 1 pound of sand per gallon of tank, and I believe that's per gallon of display tank. So this is a 13.5 gallon, but I believe the actual display tank is roughly 12 gallons. So 12 pounds of sand should do it, but we'll see how it works out here with this tank in terms of how deep the sand is after I have most of the bag in the aquarium. Now, some people do a deep sea sand bed. That is supposed to be helpful for generating beneficial bacteria, but that's not something that I typically go with. I just don't like that look. So I have a reasonably sized sand bed. It's not too deep, but it allows me to easily siphon it and get all the gunk and detritus out of it every so often, which is what I find you need to do to keep your tank looking nice and clean. So once we have all of our sand in place, I'm going to go ahead and put my rocks back into the aquarium. I'm going to try to mimic that aquascape that I had laid out earlier. I took a couple pictures of it to give myself a good reminder of where things were placed, because honestly, like moving one thing just a little bit this way or a little bit that way can greatly change the look and how the rocks sit on each other, I should say. So the top rock that's going to serve as the ceiling for my fish swimming underpass underneath needs to sit on those two rocks just in a certain way so it's kind of stable. So that's why I took some pictures. Recommend you do that too if you lay out your aquascape ahead of time. So one of the things you'll notice that I'm doing when I'm placing my rocks into the aquarium is I'm using my magnetic cleaner to go around the edges and make sure that I have enough space to easily clean my glass. One of the problems that I've had with previous aquariums is I would place some of the rock work too close to the glass, and then it would make it difficult to use the magnetic, cleaner and scraper to get any algae off the glass. And then I'd have to open the tank lid up and put my arm in the aquarium and use a sponge or use like a scrubber, and that kind of defeats the purpose of the magnetic cleaner. So once we have our sand and rockwork in place, the next step is to simply fill up the aquarium. I have all my salt water pre-mixed in a big, like 40-some gallon garbage container that I only use for mixing salt water. If you guys need some advice on that, I have a few other videos on my channel taking you through the salt water mixing process, but I'm not really going to touch upon that here all that much. The only word of advice I would use when filling your aquarium for the first time is try not to churn up your sand too much. This will cut down on the cloudiness in the water, and your tank will be nice and clear a lot sooner if you can try not to disturb your sand bed too much. Use your Rockwork to pour your water onto, so it sort of sort of disperses into your aquarium rather than pouring it directly into the sand bed and churning up all of the stuff that's in that live sand. So now that we have our aquarium nice and filled, the next step of the process is going to be starting the cycling. Now, some people ask, do I run my filters, when I do the cycling process? The answer is yes and no. I say yes because you're going to want to have your pumps running, your filtration pumps, but at this time I would say you're not going to want to put in your chemical filtration at all. You don't want to put carbon in, you don't want to put Purigen or Chemipure or any of that stuff, because you want that bacteria to build up in your tank. You want the ammonia levels to rise, because once the ammonia levels rise, then the beneficial bacteria will show up and turn that ammonia into nitrites and then into nitrates, which is what you want to see before you add any living creatures into your aquarium. So you're going to want to run your pumps. If you have a power head to also improve turnover and circulation in your tank, you can do that as well, but that's not necessarily critical at this stage in the game when you don't have anything else in the tank. The idea is that you're just going to put a pinch of fish food into the aquarium every day, some flakes of fish food. You can do some frozen brine shrimp if you want to get those ammonia levels up. And I'll do another video that takes you through the cycling process, how to check, how often to check, what to look for, and when you know that your tank is cycled. So once again, I am the Fish Tank Guy. Thank you so much for checking out this video and checking out my channel. I'm very excited that we're finally making some progress on this aquarium. I'm looking forward to getting it cycled and starting to put some coral in here and some fish. That way I can enjoy the peaceful, serene environment of the fish tank as I sit at my desk and edit videos and do whatever else when I do stuff for work, or I'm just browsing the internet. It'd be nice to sit here and check out the fish in my cool 13.5 gallon EVO aquarium. So I hope you guys stick with the series. There are going to be a lot of other videos here. I'm going to do a video closer to the end of the series before I do the regular updates on the tank moving forward, but closer to the end of the series where I talk about how much this setup costs. I'm going to take you through everything that you need to build a setup very similar to mine. I've seen a lot of budget videos using this aquarium and saying that it costs basically the cost of just the aquarium, which is misleading. So I want to give you guys a good idea of what this setup costs in case you want to do something like this in your home or office or wherever. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I know I'm sitting here next to a not finished tank, but I will cut to an image of having the sand in and the rockwork in and the water in, because I'm going to do all that stuff after I film this part of me talking. It just is working better with the schedule lately. So yeah, that's all I've got. I'm tired of rambling on. So until a future Fish Tank Guy video, I will see you guys soon.